Hello and welcome to NYFA's Webinar Wednesday, a weekly virtual series specifically designed for Nebraska communities and housing partners. Today we'll be discussing the topic of 211 United Way Essential Services. My name is John Turner, Manager of Community Development and Research at the Nebraska Investment Finance Authority. Due to the pandemic, NYFA is postponing its 2021 Annual Housing Innovation Marketplace Conference until March 28th through 30th of 2022. Instead, we will be bringing you weekly webinars in 2021. Our panelists today are Josh Quinn, Director of 211, and Heather Tomczak, Director of Community Impact with the United Way of the Midlands. I would also like to thank Susan Pullis of NYFA, who is behind the scenes helping to monitor the chat and answer questions. We would like attendees to save all questions until the end of the presentations. You can use the question feature on the right to input your questions, and NYFA staff will hold those until the end of the presentation. If you would prefer to ask your question, simply raise your hand and we can unmute you. All right, very good. So thanks for attending, and I will pass it over to Josh and Heather, who will be arriving shortly.
Hey, thanks so much, John. Really appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about 211. 211 is such a special resource for our community, and I don't think enough people really understand the full scope of what 211, the service, offers for them. So we hope to provide some information that's going to help everyone get a better understanding, a more rich understanding of what 211 as a service is actually here to provide. I think we have a couple poll questions that we're going to start with.
Yep, everybody should be seeing it. Looks like we got questions rolling in, or I mean answers rolling in. There we go. So it looks like the majority knows about 211.
Oh, I love that.
Yep, and it looks like those answers are rolling in now too, for people that actually utilized it. You know, I suppose we could have people that have utilized it personally, or they've referred people to the resource.
Yeah, I think either is a good data point. It's really it helps me understand kind of who knows about it versus who's trying to use it.
Very good. All right, I'm going to turn my webcam off and let you take over.
Well, thank you again, everyone, for coming and joining the NYFA webinar on 211. The 211 Community Contact Center is something special, near and dear to my heart. Like I was telling John, I'm a little bit new to United Way of the Midlands and 211, coming on in the midst of the pandemic last year to take on a new role to help really drive 211, to help every possible person in the community get connected, get their needs met, and serviced by different agencies that offer different programs to help service those needs. I took a little snippet of our mission off of our website and I listed it below. People across our area face challenges every day and may not know how to find or access local programs that address them. That's what 211 is all about, connecting our neighbors with nearby services that can help. That's the most basic explanation of 211. And it's something that makes me feel very special about my role and responsibility for the community. So if you're joining this webinar, and I guess counter to the poll, you might be asking yourself, what is 211? It was pretty exciting to see that many of you have heard of 211. That's definitely a mission of ours, is to get the word out. So 211 is a 3-digit dialing number that provides connection to our information referral specialists. We're able to identify and provide community resource referrals for our clients. The 211 service exists across the entire country. 211 contact centers are managed regionally, however. For example, our 211 coverage area is the entire state of Nebraska and part of Southwest Iowa. Nebraska's 211 Community Contact Center is hosted by United Way of the Midlands, based in Omaha. Who does 211 help? I've heard that question a number of times, and the simple answer is 211 helps everyone. Anyone who finds themselves in need should reach out to 211 for assistance because we can help you. In 2020, we saw a dramatic increase in what we call the newly in need. First-time callers whose needs have been impacted by unforeseen circumstances. Let's talk a little bit about our 211. Our information referral specialists are trained in establishing rapport, empathetic listening, conducting assessment of needs, providing an informed choice of referrals, and crisis intervention if required. 211 supports all languages from the community to reduce any barriers from a community member interacting with the service itself. Our 211 database curator team maintains and updates our community resource database of around 3,400 programs and nearly 3,000 locations on a regular basis to ensure information is accurate. The community resource database is made up mostly of nonprofit and government human service agencies and programs, but that's not to say there's not a place for other agencies and programs that may offer services that benefit the community and help the community members meet their needs. If an agency or organization is interested in becoming a listed resource, the process is easy. We have an amazing resource in Lindsay Paulson, who's our manager of our database curator team, and I've listed her contact information below. If you wish to have your agency or organization evaluated or just confirm that your resource is listed in the database, just simply reach out to Lindsay and she'll be more than happy to assist you. How to connect to 211. 211 isn't just 211. The 211 Community Contact Center supports multiple channels for interaction and resource identification. We, of course, have the direct dialing number 211, or we have a full phone number 402-444-6666. We have an email channel, so if you just have a simple question but you don't have time to call us, you can send an email to ne211@uwmidlands.org. We also support texting. You can text 211 at 898-211. We will quickly respond and assist you with any of your needs. We have a couple of self-service options as well. If you're a community member that has access to the internet and a computer, we have a website. If you search Nebraska 211, it's going to come up as a top result on Google. We also just launched, and just changed a little bit from last week, John, we just launched our brand new app. Our 211 app launched on the Apple and Android store actually earlier this week. It's very exciting for us. It adds another channel where community members can come into the 211 infrastructure and find services that are going to meet their needs. I've placed a screenshot of our website interface below. It's very easy to use. You simply just put in a zip code and then you can use the drop downs in the need categories to find places that can help you service those needs. I also put in the icon for the application that launched in the Android and App Store. If you put in Nebraska 211 in the Apple or the Android store, you're going to see that 211 NE Southwest Iowa pop up as the top result. We're very excited to launch that application and get information out to the community more quickly. I wanted to provide kind of a snapshot of community needs in 2020 as they came through 211. 211 has support for needs in housing and utilities, healthcare, food and meals, income assistance and support, individual family support, information services, transportation, clothing, personal household goods, disaster services, legal and consumer public safety, mental health and addiction services, other government and economic needs, volunteers and donations, employment, education, and arts and culture. You'll notice that I listed off the percent of those needs that we saw in 2020. And on the left-hand side at the top corner, you're going to notice that housing and utilities were the top two drivers for needs within the community interacting with 211, making up about 50% of our total call volume for the entire year. 211 works with many agencies to help provide financial assistance for housing, utilities, and mortgages for community members. United Way and Midlands has a program, but we also help direct community members to other various programs throughout the community. In October of 2020, John and NIFA was so kind to invite Heather and the United Way of the Midlands team to come and talk about the CARES Act funding that we had received and we're getting ready to distribute. I thought this would be a good opportunity to maybe bring Heather back in to kind of walk through the outcome of that CARES Act funding and the distributions that we did through January 30th of 2020. Heather?
Thanks, Josh. It was actually December 30th, just to be clear, because those federal funds ended on December 30th for the CARES that we received. So just briefly, the housing stability program that we ran from October through December 30th. We took about over probably 1,500 financial applications, and that was across the state of Nebraska. I would say primarily the applications came in from the heaviest were Douglas County. And then we were able to help support over 600 individuals with housing assistance, anywhere from mortgage assistance all the way to utility assistance. 29% of those folks that were requesting support were facing evictions. So we were able to help support that so that those ceased. And then about over $1,800 was the average rental assistance. Mortgage was about roughly $3,600. We did see some higher than that, obviously, and we saw some lower than that. But both of those were pretty much average for those that we supported.
And those statistics are amazing, Heather. Just the amount of money that's needed by an individual to stay in their home. It's such a special service that we provided, and it was our honor to help distribute those federal funds.
Definitely.
2020 was such a tumultuous, crazy year for so many people. I have a graph here that I want to share with everyone to help gain you some context about the volume that comes through 211 on any given year. You'll see I listed off the 2020 total contacts broken down by month, compared those with the 2019 monthly total contacts, and then you'll see at the bottom there's a rate of increase there. In 2019, 211 faced obstacles just as the community did with flooding. There was a lot of flooding that happened in 2019, which started to increase our call volume. So even the increases that you're seeing in 2020 are probably threefold from what they were in 2018. Prior to the major flooding we saw in 2019, we were able to navigate that flooding with our community members, giving them support and assistance to get them through. And then we got into 2020, which is a year that's all near and dear to all of our hearts, I'm sure. In 2020, the need was so much greater. And the exciting thing for us at United Way of the Midlands and 211 is we were able to step up to that challenge, meet the community needs, and scale appropriately to try to help as many community members as we possibly could. You'll notice in the statistics on the screen there, January and February, we started out already increased with lots of different questions coming in to the INR specialists. But then you'll see in March, where the pandemic really started to hit, our call volume, our contact volume jumped 166% just in that month. It ramped up very quickly. And one of the things that makes me very proud about working at United Way of the Midlands and in 211 is our entire organization rallied around that. The 211 team is pretty agile. They're not, we don't have 100 INR specialists. We have about 15 that are our core INR specialist team. We then in March had to augment with the rest of our office staff. So we actually brought in non-traditional 211 INR specialists, got them trained and able to take COVID-19 calls and help our community members stabilize and navigate to get their needs met. You'll see that volume dropped off a little bit in April when everyone took a deep breath, but then May hit. And in May, unfortunately, our call volume jumped again, 207% from the previous year. If you all remember, May is really when employers started feeling pressure from the pandemic. Reduction in revenue led to hard decisions, right? They had to look at their staffing, their revenue, they had to lay people off. And so really in May, that's when you start to see that transition of people losing their jobs, finding themselves more in need than they ever had been before. That's where we see a lot of those newly in need come in. We saw quite a few in March. We've seen a lot more in May and beyond. Newly in needs probably are our highest growing demographic, which are those people who haven't ever used 211 before. They haven't ever called, they haven't had a need, but they definitely have a need now. And the nice thing for me to deliver is 211's here. We're here for everyone and anyone that needs assistance. As we fast forward to the end of 2020, you'll notice that our total contact volume at year end was 176,000 versus 77,000 contacts in 2019. It's a 129% jump in contacts made from the community to 211. And the great thing about that is we were able to manage those and find people the help that they needed. Again, thank you so much for letting me come and talk about 211 and how special it is and how we're here to support the community. We're looking forward to 2021 and the challenges and opportunities it's going to present, but I'm here to tell you we're ready. We're ready to be shoulder to shoulder with the community. We're here to find you the help that you need. Thank you so much for your support. If you have a question and you didn't think about it today and you think about it after the webinar is over, please feel free to reach out to me, Josh Quinn, Director of 211 Community Contact Center. I've listed my contact information below. You can call me, you can send me an email. I'd love to sit down and chat if you have any additional questions. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you so much, Josh and Heather. Very good. I'm glad we could hear Heather loud and clear, so I'm glad she was able to join us. And yeah, so NIFA was doing a series of webinars called CARES Convos, where we talked to agencies that receive CARES funding. So thanks again for providing that information, because we just felt like we wanted to get the information out to as many people as possible, which is really what led to us reaching out to you, Josh. You know, I think, can you talk about, it sounds like most of your work's kind of in the eastern part of the state, but you still do cover the entire state. Do you want to talk about maybe efforts you're doing and how you're working statewide?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, John makes a good point. The 211 service is actually a service that's available statewide through the entire state of Nebraska. You know, obviously we're going to see a higher amount of contacts in the part of the state that has a little bit higher population, right, which is the eastern part of the state. But we're really excited, you know, to get the word out to the western part of the state, the middle part of the state too. There are a lot of needs out there, and people may not know where to go. They may have, you know, housing needs, shelter needs, food needs, household needs that they have, medical needs, and not know where to go, even in those smaller communities. 211's database is very robust. The database curator team spends a lot of time finding those resources out in western Nebraska and central Nebraska, adding them in and keeping them updated. Our marketing team is doing an amazing job of trying to broadcast 211 out to those parts of the state so that they're more aware of it and are advertise 211.
For some reason, I was muted and you were muted for a second, but I think we heard most of what you were saying. Apologize for that. I don't know what happened.
That's all right.
Yeah, so that's great, and that is such an essential thing. That's what came up a lot for us at NIFA. I mean, obviously, we don't provide direct services, but we do support a lot of agencies that provide those services, and we try to kind of have our finger on the pulse of what's happening around the state. And when those dollars came in, we would hear, how do we access them? So, resources like what you have, and it's easy to remember. People can call in, and this is also why it's so important for agencies like NIFA to get our information to you. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and the nice thing about CARES too is there was kind of a push made, right? We didn't have a lot of time to get those funds distributed. And there were many agencies out in central and western Nebraska that received funding and they needed help, right, getting people funneled into them. And so it was our honor to really help everyone by, making sure the message about 211 got out there to the communities. The community members would interact with us. Then our specialists would thoughtfully go through each and every request and then find the right funding source. Many of those were in western Nebraska, central Nebraska for those individuals that needed assistance there. And that really helped those agencies get those funds distributed, find the right amount of people, get the funds out to the community. And so it was really that concert of working together that drove a lot of value.
Yeah, and I thought I would just, I found your app on the Google Play Store, so congratulations on that milestone. I'm sure that's exciting since so many people have smartphones.
Absolutely. And it really, it makes access at the easier fingers. All you have to do if you have a need, you go on your phone, onto the app, put in your zip code, and away you go. And if you ever, if you're navigating and you have additional questions, always can call 211. We staff 24/7. There's always a live person available to talk with you and help you navigate for what your needs are.
Very good. Well, I'm not seeing very many questions roll in. I'm sure you and I could talk for a long time about this resource. And, I think a lot of people, they Google or, they get on a search engine and say, how do I find housing assistance? And it's amazing the things that pop up. And so sometimes people reach out to us. And a lot of it is just, where is that common, area, the number that you call, that website you go to, where really you're going to find a wealth of knowledge and be directed to the right agency. Because obviously, if you're stressed and you want to make sure you're calling the right place, you don't want to have to call so many. So just, hats off to you guys for what you do.
And that's a really good point too, that maybe we should take a second. We're a trusted resource. If you are looking for resources on the internet, you need to be cautious, right? There's nefarious people out there that take advantage. 211, should be considered a trusted resource. United Way is very stable, right? Nationwide. We have a very thoughtful team of database curators that go out to maintain that information, to keep it up to date. It's an ongoing process, but it's one that we love. So if you're looking for a trusted resource, I would say 211 is probably one of your better avenues.
Great. Very good. And, we know that we're still in this, and we know there's some additional funding that we've heard about, and there's just always going to be a need for people to get resources. And so partnering together and, sharing this information like we are, so people at least know how to start. Because, something that came up in our practice is the term newly in need. And that's something that I did pick up on a lot of the agencies. I liked that term that you used, was there were people that are asking for help that haven't done it before.
Yeah, and a lot of them. I mean, that was probably the most shocking thing to me, and I guess it shouldn't have been shocking, but it was. People that would call that just, they didn't know what to do, they didn't know where to go, they'd never been in that situation before. And we listen to a lot, we take a lot of calls, we listen to a lot of calls, and a lot of those calls that I would listen to, with the people that really, they didn't know 211 existed, a friend or family member told them, hey, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go to 211. And they came to us, and we helped them. And there's so many amazing stories about the people that we helped who just, they didn't know where to turn, they didn't know what to do. And I mean, that's kind of it's an ongoing thing in 211, but the volume that happened in 2020 and will continue to happen in 2021 is heartbreaking, but it's a special thing when you can help someone out.
Very good. Yeah, well, thank you so much, Josh, and thank you again, Heather. I'm not seeing any questions come in, but I think we had a great discussion for sure, and one that will continue. So, that completes all of the questions from today's presentation, and I would like to thank everyone for attending. And a special thank you again to Josh and Heather. Remember that this webinar, along with all previous webinars, are recorded and available on our website. And I believe that this is going to go in the chat as well. I've noticed Susan's been putting some good information in our chat. But on our website, NYFA.org, under Community Development, Trainings and Webinars, or you can go to YouTube channel and look up NYFA Housing. I also want to give a plug for next week. So we decided we're doing webinars every Wednesday in 2021, and it's going to keep us busy, but we're trying to have really great topics. And next week, we're very excited about our keynote speaker, actually, that we had for 2020 is author Kenneth Groenbach. So he's going to be our speaker next week, and the topic is demographic strategies for the post-corona era. So we're looking forward to that, and hopefully a lot of people register. So thank you so much, everybody, once again, and welcome for attending NYFA's Webinar Wednesdays, and we will see you down the road. Thanks again, Josh.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your week.
All right. Thank you.